news. Yes, folks, as usual, the top story of this week, just like seemingly every other week since I've been hosting this show, is COVID-19. It has made a comeback, and now Florida, Texas, and Missouri are accounting for 40% of the new coronavirus cases in the United States. So basically, it's 3 states driving this sort of resurgence, this pandemic that we've had, as the divide between vaccinated and unvaccinated regions of the country are becoming even more stark, as the more transmissible Delta variant of the coronavirus is spreading. As I said, 40% of all cases this week have been recorded in Florida, Texas, and Missouri. Florida alone counts for 20% of all new cases nationally. 20%. And White House pandemic response coordinator Jeff Zients said that virtually all of the hospitalizations and deaths, a full 97%, are among unvaccinated people. The threat is now predominantly only to the unvaccinated. He said a few vaccinated people do experience so-called breakthrough infections. They keep saying that, but I keep seeing them everywhere. I keep seeing, like in the Olympic Village, everybody in the Olympics is vaccinated, yet they got 100 cases of COVID in the Olympic Village. But yes, so there you go, Florida, Texas, and Missouri.
So what is this? What is so unique or different, or why is this one so much more aggressive?
Well, supposedly more like you said, aggressive, more transmissible. The Delta variant is supposedly just more aggressive, more in your face. You know, it's perfect for Texas. But if we didn't have enough to worry about, Texas hospitals are now reporting the first case of the Lambda variant.
Lambda variant?
Yes, the Lambda variant of COVID. Get used to hearing that. The Lambda variant of COVID-19. Yes, Houston Methodist Hospital confirmed its first case of the COVID Lambda variant at one of its 8 facilities on Monday. A hospital spokeswoman confirmed to the Daily News. The discovery comes as the healthcare network struggles to battle the Delta variant, which we just talked about, which reportedly accounts for 85% of the 200 cases they're currently treating. Houston Methodist just had over 100 COVID cases last week. The vast majority of those hospitalized are unvaccinated, the hospital said. The Lambda variant was first documented in Peru last year, according to the World Health Organization, where it remains the most dominant mutation of the COVID-19 strain. Reportedly shares characteristics with the Alpha, Beta, and Gamma variants. So get used to hearing about those as well.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's see. We've got, how many letters are there in the Greek alphabet? I think 22. So we got about 18 more. We got space for 18 more.
Yes, yes.
Yoo-hoo. Yay.
But it wasn't all sad news. Well, I guess it wasn't all bad news. I did get some joy this week watching Dr. Fauci. Did you see this, Rev? And Rand Paul.
No.
Yes.
You said last weekend?
No, this week. A few days ago, Dr. Fauci and Rand Paul are clashing on the virus origins, trade, and they are trading charges of lying. Now, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's top infectious disease expert, angrily confronted Kentucky GOP Senator Rand Paul on Tuesday in a testimony on Capitol Hill, rejecting Paul's insinuation that the U.S. helped fund research at the Chinese lab that could have sparked the COVID-19 outbreak. Paul suggested that Fauci had lied before Congress in May when he denied that the National Institute of Health funded the so-called gain-of-function research. You got to listen to this, Rev. This is hilarious.
Well, man, I sure did miss it. I was up to my...
Dr. Fauci, as you are aware, it is a crime to lie to Congress. Section 1001 of the U.S. Criminal Code creates a felony and a 5-year penalty for lying to Congress. This research matches, these are Dr. Ebright's words, this research matches, indeed epitomizes, the definition of gain-of-function research done entirely in Wuhan. for which there was supposed to be a federal pause. Dr. Fauci, knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
Microphone.
Microphone.
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement. This paper that you are referring to was judged by qualified staff up and down the chain as not being gain of function. Let me finish.
You take an animal virus and you increase its transmissibility to humans.
Right.
You're saying that's not gain of function?
Yeah, that is correct. And Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly. And I want to say that officially. You do not know what you are talking about.
How you can say that is not gain of function?
It is not.
It's a dance, and you're dancing around this because you're trying to obscure responsibility for 4 million people dying around the world from a pandemic.
If the point that you are making is that the grant that was funded as a sub-award from EcoHealth to Wuhan created SARS-CoV-2, that's where you are getting. Let me finish.
We don't know.
Well, wait a
If
minute.
it did come from the lab, but all the evidence is pointing that it came from the lab, and there will be responsibility for those who funded the lab, including yourself.
I totally
This committee
resent-
will allow the witness to
I
respond.
totally resent the lie that you are now propagating, Senator. Those viruses are molecularly impossible
No one's
to
saying
result
they are. No
in
one's saying those viruses are
SARS-CoV-2.
pandemic.
Senator Paul,
We're saying they are gain-of-function viruses because they were
They're not.
animal viruses that became more transmissible in human, and you funded it.
And
Won't
you
admit the truth.
and you
Senator
implying
Paul, your time has expired, and I will allow witnesses
Right.
who come before this committee to respond.
you are implying that what we did was responsible for the deaths of individual. I totally resent
could
that.
have
And
been.
if anybody
could
is
have been.
lying here, Senator, it is you.
No, not really. I mean, let's just be real.
Senator Smith.
Let's just be real here. Dr. Fauci, liar, liar, pants on fire. What he's doing is he's using semantics. He's using semantics because he knows that the NIH, the National Institute of Health, funded the EcoHealth group led by Peter Daszak. We did a deep dive. You can look in the archives of this show.
I remember.
Probably about 2 months ago we did.
Yeah.
And we went step by step of how the grant happened to research bat coronaviruses in Wuhan. So Dr. Fauci is lying, but he's doing what liars do, which is sort of using semantics. He's trying to essentially say, because we didn't specifically aim to make SARS-CoV-2, that it could not have been that, and what we were funding, it may have been with bat coronaviruses, but it wasn't technically gain of function. And so he's trying to essentially thread the needle there, bro.
But he still hadn't explained why it's not
Yeah.
technically gain of function.
Well,
Well, it sounded like Senator Rand was pretty, clear on that, or at least pretty plain on that one, that if it wasn't gain of function, well, what was it then? Because
Right.
the research that was done, what involved hyping up that particular virus to see what would be the impact of it,
exactly.
which by definition is gain of function.
Now, remind you again, this isn't the first time Dr. Fauci's lied to the public. As we've talked about many times, he lied to us about, masks, wearing masks. This is from 60 Minutes in March.
There's a lot of confusion among people and misinformation surrounding face masks.
Yep,
Can
there
you
is.
discuss that?
The masks are important for someone who's infected to prevent them from infecting someone else. Now, when you see people and look at the films in China and South Korea, whatever, everybody's wearing a mask. Right now in the United States, people should not be walking around with masks.
You're sure of it because people are listening really
No.
closely to this.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and it might even block a droplet, but it's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is. And often there are unintended consequences.
that.
People keep fiddling with the
Yeah.
mask and they keep
Protection.
touching their face.
And can you get some schmutz sort of staying inside there?
Of course, of course.
Yeah, so this is what Fauci.
Perfect protection.
This is what Fauci does. He basically, like I said, he uses semantics. Later on, he admitted that the reason he said that masks didn't work was so that people would stop buying masks at the start of the pandemic, so that people who were first responders could have the mask. Now, what a decent person would have done in this instance would have said, look, hey, if the rest of you guys, we don't have enough masks for everybody, you know, if you guys could stay home or make your own mask or do whatever, make your mask, but these masks need to be reserved for healthcare workers. Instead, he just blatantly lied to the public. He just lied to the public, you know, as he has been known to do, which is really unfortunate, because as we talk about this pandemic has been so tragic because it has exposed the flaws in our society, Rev. It has exposed all the divisions between black people and white people, between Republicans, Democrats, cities, rural, it's like the perfect exposure of what could go wrong in our particular society, and it's taking advantage of our greed, our narcissism, all that, Rev.
Yep. You know, the thing about it is, unfortunately, people are more concerned about their reputations. They're more concerned about, quote, being right, more concerned about being on the right side of history, what have you, than they actually are concerned about being honest, being helpful. And it's not just happening with the coronavirus. It's in a variety of places.
Right, that's what we turned
But
into.
as it impacts it here, you know, back when this thing first broke out, if masks would help, not saying if they would stop the virus, it's just like with the vaccine. You know, if you're gonna say down the line, well, we never said that the vaccine would stop everything. Well, yeah, okay, but you know, a person with sense would have known that in the first place.
Right.
But the way the vaccine had been marketed as if the vaccine was the answer to our problem, that if we get the vaccine out, then things can go back to normal. That was what they were selling. That's what they were selling. And after over a year of being in quarantine, people were happy to buy it.
Right.
Now, when it turns out that the vaccine kind of works, but it's not 100%,
right,
then we're going to hear the backpedaling.
Yep. Like,
or it's going to be now because of the variants now.
Yeah.
Well, it did work, but now we got the variants. Well, according to one article I pulled up here, viruses mutate all the time.
Yeah, that's what they do.
That's how they function. And so it was a given that they were going to mutate. And so there's no way you could plot ahead of time to create a vaccine that I guess would be able to stop every mutation, because you don't know where the mutation is going to take place. So here we are. And the ultimate reality is, like I've said every time this comes up, last hour, Sister Eve was talking about, you know, what she had gone through. Well, the reality is, at some point, something is going to take you to your rest.
Yep.
You know, generally speaking, your odds of dying get higher as you get older. You know, there are some things that kind of skew that. How well do you eat? Do you exercise? Do you get enough rest? You know, these things can affect that sort of thing. Living in high stress environments can affect that thing. And Lord knows, most of us folk who live in inner cities live in high stress environments.
Yes, we do. Yes, we absolutely do. I absolutely agree with that. Oh, we got to go to our very first break. Please give us a call, folks.
Our first break and nobody called?
Yeah.
Shame on y'all.
219-885-1371. I forgot to give the number at the beginning. 219-885-1371. And I'll tell you again. You are listening to Scott and the Rev on WLTH 1370 AM. Give us a call, 219-885-1371.